My name is Mel Brown, and welcome to episode 45 of my crafting podcast. This is my fortnightly vlog about knitting, crochet, weaving, anything else that seems like a good idea at the time. I'm an autistic woman living in North Yorkshire in the north of England with my husband, our 3 daughters and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Mel Brown Crafting Podcast and also Creative Escape Retreats, and you can find me on Ravelry as Funky40, and we also have a Ravelry group for this podcast on Ravelry. Where else would it be? And that's where the show notes are. So if there's anything I say today that you want to find out more about, there's a link down here and that'll take you across to Ravelry, and there are clickable links there. So, hello! Right, let's get straight into it. Where are they now? What's happened to the projects that you've seen before? Well, let's start with the oldest one, which is the memories blanket. I usually say, yep, nothing happening on that one, that's still snoozing. But not today, because I have done some work on it. So this is the memories blanket by Georgie Nicholson. Everybody, I think, who knits has tried one at one point. A lot of people have finished them and a lot of people have abandoned them because they really are a very long piece of work. So I have finished the 6th round. So I started off in the centre with just 4 squares, which are there, and then I've gone out from there and they're all pointing outwards, as you can see. That was the 2nd round, that was the 3rd, that was the 4th, that was the 5th, and this was the 6th. The 5th up to the 5th rounds were all in 3mm, and I, for reasons which you'll see in an earlier podcast, switched to a 2.75 millimeter for this one, but I wanted to switch back, and so I finished that with the 2.75, and that's all the way around. So some of these are old favourites. That's Knitting Goddess. I've got I think I might be wearing socks. I think I wore them yesterday, skew socks I made with those, and some of them are new, some of them I've used before in the blanket, some of them this is the first appearance, but there they all are, absolutely beautiful. So do you remember me gassing about the fact that I'd switched to 2.75mm because I wanted to use DPNs and I didn't have any 3mm DPNs, and rather than waiting I dived straight in. So I ordered some 3mm DPNs, but I was chatting while Fiona at the yarn etc was asking me which size I wanted, and I ended up getting these by mistake. So these are the much longer ones. I haven't used them before, and the problem was my beautiful little DPN case, which I got from Pickle Lily. She's on Etsy. Absolutely lovely little thing. It doesn't fit the new needles. So I asked her to make me a new one, and she's amazing. It says on her Etsy shop, you know, if you want a custom made thing, then let me know. So she made me a custom size, custom made thing with the same, pretty much the same fabric, rainbows and things, because I like that, as you know. And it was the same price as the others. It's amazing. I really, really recommend her. It only took her a week. She's lovely. So there it is. And then, so I've tried with the 3mm, and they're very long. They're really long, and it's the saga of my blanket. I think they might be too long for me to work with because depending on what clothes I'm wearing, they're getting caught up in my sleeves. I don't know if I'm going to better make them work. But on the plus side, I've got a DPN case for either size needles. If I have to go and get some 3mm in the smaller size, at least I've got a case for both. But yeah, really stupid. But anyway, here we go. So that's a bit of easy knits there to start the 7th round. And so now it's the 6th round, so it's 12 plateaus, 144 squares. And I calculated that I needed 17 by 24, I think that's what I said. Some ridiculous amount. Yeah, that's right. I figured I need 17 by 25, which is 425 squares, and I've done 144. Yeah, I'm not sure it's ever going to make it that far, but it doesn't matter because actually it's just so much fun to make, and it just makes such good use of what I've leftover yarns. But there is more on that to come later. So my memories blanket is alive and well, and will be getting some attention possibly over Christmas. Don't know. I'll tell you more about the distractions over Christmas in a minute. So let's pop that old friend back into its massive bag. That's where all the yarns live. That. Right, that is work in progress number 1. What else have you seen? Brick Socks by Cookie from this book. I had started, let me look, when I last spoke to you rather, that I had started them and I didn't like the yarn. It was a hand dyed yarn, my own, and it wasn't the right yarn for the pattern. So I'd frogged it, and I think I might have just started again, had I? Anyway, I have. And it's coming on well, although to be honest, I'm not enjoying it very much, and I don't really know why. So here's the first sock. Let me see if I can give you a close up of the pattern. Oh, that looks really good actually, I like that. It's really nice. Across the foot it just goes that way and comes back. And this yarn is, well, it's one of my favourite yarns, my favourite commercial yarn probably. It's Zalba Ball. And I don't know the colourway. I don't know if they give them numbers or just names or just numbers. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just numbers. Anyway, oh no, Bestel number 1155 Faber 2263. Colour 2263. There we go. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, here's the rest of it. It's divine. So yeah, finished the first one, and to be honest, I haven't enjoyed it much. And I really don't understand. I did another pattern from this book. I did Kaime. Do you remember seeing that? That was in light pink. Oh my goodness, I loved every minute of that sock. Second sock syndrome didn't come in. I wanted to knit a third and a fourth, and I probably will knit more. I'm just trying to find a picture of that for you. But for some reason, this one, same designer, same overall concept, I just can't find it. Haven't enjoyed it at all. It's made me quite miserable. That's Kaime. So I don't know whether it's because in the Kaime there's even once in the middle of the pattern there's quite a bit of stockinette, so you do the pattern bit and then you knit it and then you come back and do the pattern bit. Whereas in this, in the cuff, it's pattern all the way around. On the foot, it's obviously stockinette on the bottom and there's pattern on there, but that was a chart that I pretty much had to look at almost every row, and I don't like doing that. Like a 57-page chart over 32 stitches and having to look at that every time. I just didn't enjoy that bit. So, but this is a very difficult yarn to frog. It's a single, it's quite hairy, and frogging doesn't go well. It really doesn't. So I knew that even if I had the heart to rip back what I'd done, it would not go well. So I just decided to get on with it, and I have. The way these balls are round, it tends to, in my bag, just kind of a whole chunk slips off, and I have to try and sort it out again. I have started the second sock. So there's the cuff, and I'm on the heel at the moment. I've just turned the heel and I've just picked up stitches. This is my least favourite bit. It's very, very fiddly, and so that's why I didn't get any more attention yesterday. But the socks are gratifyingly different. I like the fact that when these are for my eldest daughter for Christmas, that when she's wearing them, they'll look like odd socks. If she's got her shoes on, they'll just look like they're odd socks. I love that. It's only when you take your shoes off that you realise that they're just kind of sisters from a different mister. Anyway, this is her Christmas present, and she's coming home from uni today. So, yeah, I need to get them hidden really. So, the pattern is fine and good. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. If you've done Cookie's patterns before, you'll know they're lovely. It's me. It's just not particularly well suited to me for some reason. But it's coming on well, and I will definitely have that finished in time for Christmas, which is good. so I can get all this stuff back into my little bag that's made for me, my friend Sarah from Lancashire. Right, okay, so that's the second project that you've already seen. I'm trying to keep some kind of order in here. This is Lizzie's room that I'm in here, and obviously I need to move out of it as soon as I've recorded and edited and uploaded this video. I need to move out, make her bed, and make it all nice and clear some space so she can work over the holidays and stuff. So yeah. Right. New whips on the block. So although I have already made 2 pairs of socks for my second daughter, I came across a pattern and I loved it so much, and I thought my oldest daughter would want it, but it was a sloth plant hanger, and she said actually at her room in uni she's got enough plants already. So, but number 2 really wanted it, so I made it for her. Let's get it. It's actually fully in situ. There it is. It's got a cactus in it, and yeah, because the issue is obviously you can't put a little tray in the bottom. It's got to be something that doesn't need much watering. We got this piece of driftwood from Pets at Home. It's meant to be to go in an aquarium, or I don't know what you call it when you've got lizards and things like that, or whatever, a lizardarium. It's for one of those. But yeah, there it is, and we'll put some string on both ends and tie up on something on the wall. It's lovely, isn't it? It's really, really cute. It's a really fun, quick knit crochet as well. Quick crochet. I had the cream anyway. It's just Wendy with wool acrylic stuff that I use for teaching crochet. And I didn't have any dark brown. But then I did a weaving class, and I often say to people, bring along any scraps of yarn you've got, you can use them up. And this lady brought along some scraps of yarn and she gave them to me so we can keep them. And one of them was some dark brown, so that was really handy. He's cute, isn't he? Aww. So yeah, that's all done and dusted. It's another Christmas present. And that's a finished object. So I've still got 2 works in progress and the third, the Advent blanket. Well, let me tell you about this. So my friend Sarah and I, we do swaps quite often. So we get together, we live about an hour and a bit apart over the Pennines, either sides of the Pennines, and we get together and we will either bought or made or whatever stuff for each other. And it's very random because you never know whether I will have got more stuff to give or to receive, whether I'll have had more stuff that's made or bought, and none of that matters. It's really lovely. It's a really nice kind of free exchange thing. But what we also decided to do this year was a mini swap. So we made each other mini advent calendars. So what that means is that for every day, actually I'm going to go get you the tin so you can see. So mine has come in this amazing tin, which used to be a biscuit tin. And it's actually got a mechanism and it turns, and the inner thing turns like a carousel. It's absolutely awesome. I won't start it now because it won't stop. But inside this there are loads and loads of little parcels. And we're both quite into environmental stuff, so mine are wrapped up in, have you heard the company Who Gives a Crap? They provide toilet roll and initially, but they also do kitchen roll. And they donate half their profits to countries to build toilets, basically. And each toilet roll is wrapped in a piece of paper, but that's just standard recycled paper, so it can be reused and it can be recycled. So I'm going to find one for you. Okay, let's do a quick advert for Who Gives a Crap. Here they are. So all the toilet rolls come like that, and then this wrapping comes off. It's 100% recycled paper, no inks, dyes or scents in the paper, in the actual toilet paper. But this is just usual paper, so I take it off, and it's big enough to use as wrapping paper, and because it's not glossy, you can use sellotape on it if you want. I didn't have to for my advent calendar, but there it is. Absolutely brilliant organisation. Check them out. I'll put a link in the show notes. What they're doing is amazing. So I wrapped mine in these, and Sarah has wrapped hers in put it down over here now, book pages. So old books that aren't going to be used anymore, she's just wrapped in pages. It's so cute. And there's a little bit of sellotape on them, but I can take that off, and I can reuse the paper again. So it's all just lovely, lovely, lovely. Anyway, I've got one for each day. I've got a couple of specials for extra days if I'm feeling a bit grim, which I haven't used yet. So you've had an advent calendar before, you know. It's the most exciting thing every day in December to wake up. It's dark. I get up, my alarm goes off at 6. I don't always get up at 6, but it's dark and it's cold, and being able to open something special just for me, it makes me really, really happy. And I have got 4 advent calendars this year, so I'll tell you about them in a bit, but this is the first. So I knew I was getting these, and what we've both done is, with our leftover sock yarn, we both knit a lot of socks. You know yourself, if you knit a pair of socks from a 100-gram ball, you're going to use 60 to 70 grams. Unless you do really, really long cuffs, you might do 80 or maybe even 90, but you're still going to have some yarn left over. The only time I haven't is when I made these great big long things with my own first hand dyed yarn, because I'd kind of forgotten that if I don't knit to the end of the ball, the yarn, if the dye effect of stripes and the other thing I did isn't going to come into full fruition, so I had to knit right to the end. But generally you've got some yarn left over, so we made minis out of our leftovers, and they're 5 grams each roughly, and one every day. Right, if you got that so far. I'm wittering today, I'm sorry. So where's mine for today? Today's mini is here. It's a Serdar Heart and Soul, and I've already wound it. So I knew that I was going to be getting 25 5-gram minis, and I didn't know what to do with them. As seen from my Memories blanket bag, I've already got a royal ton. I was going to use the my children's phrase, which is not suitable for public consumption. Quite a big amount of leftover sock yarn for my Memories blankets, and adding those minis in there wouldn't really kind of celebrate their uniqueness. So I decided to make a blanket, and I decided on mitered squares, crocheted ones, because of course, you know, one mitered square magnum opus is not enough, is it? And then I decided to do stripes, and then I went back to the, so I have reworked this a few times, but I'm pretty confident I know what I'm doing now. So my little bag, another little bag from Sarah, she makes me a lot of things. I started off with a mini that I was given by Green Lambkin Yarns at Yarndale, and that's my mitered square. Now, unlike the knitting one, it starts at this end and it increases up, and that is particularly important because what I'm doing is it's just roughly 5 grams, and even if it was exactly 5 grams, there's going to be different yardage in each 5 grams, and therefore different length, different size of square. So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much crocheting until I've run out of yarn. Not so this one, because this was a very generous 5-gram one. This is the remains of the second idea I had, which was the great big long blanket. That was a foundation half treble crochet, half double in American terms. So I've done a few rounds of that, and then what I've done from then on is I have taken every single mini that I got each day, and I have made a mitered square with it. Now sometimes you can see it's a mitered square, sometimes it just looks a bit random, but when it comes to the ones like that have got, it's obvious then. And then you get to the striping ones. Oh my giddy aunt, these are so pretty. Look at that. And I've got a little bit of yarn left, and I haven't chopped it off. And some of them are smaller than others. Some of them have less rows, rows, definitely rows, than others. This one Sarah actually dyed herself here at my house. It reminds me of sweet peas. And then and I've got today's. So the idea is that I crochet them all until I've run out of yarn, and then if I'm part way through a row, I just rip that back, so I knit as many full rows as I can with that yarn. And then when they're all made up, I'll decide to do, because really I need to have them more or less the same size in order to put them together. So what I'm probably going to do is get a neutral, and say there's 8 rows in the biggest ones, then I'll just make up the others to 8 rows with the neutral, and I maybe do an extra row on the biggest as well. So there'll be 9 rows in total, and every square will have at least 1 neutral row. Some will have more, and then I'll put them together in a design. I guess whereas the biggest ones are balanced off with the smaller ones. I have no idea. I'm making it up as I go along. But obviously you'll be thinking, 25 5-gram minis is not going to make a blanket, right? It might make a little lap thing, not even that. It's going to be pretty small. But that's okay, because something else happened, which I will explain. Is that next? Not quite. I'll come back to that in a minute. So that's the outfit blanket. That's it so far. And that is my last work in progress. There's no more knitting or crochet. So I did a little bit of sewing. I saw a YouTube video on an easy bag to sew as a gift, and I loved it. I'll put a link in the show notes. Absolutely loved it. Watched it, thought, I've got to do this. And it just involves having a really simple template, which was right here until I lost it. Oh, here it is. A really simple template like that, and then you make a bag. And I cut it out of cardboard. I don't know why, and that caused me a few problems. I should have just done it in paper. Sewing patterns are in paper, aren't they? Anyway, I made this. So it's got some quilting wadding inside it, and it's got this lovely fabric that I got from Scrap in Leeds, and it's got just an old black sheet on the inside. The quality of the sewing is appalling, absolutely appalling. It's falling apart down here already. You know, I didn't catch everything in the seam, but I actually love it. I love the fact that it just sits. And at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm putting the mini that I've wound into there, and then while it's in progress, it's in there, and then it's being transferred to the fox bag. If I get behind on those, there might be, you know, some unwound minis in there as well, which is fine. And then if I've got other things that I want to put in there, they can go in there too. So I wanted to make one for everybody for Christmas, but the problem is, although it's nice and fast, the wadding makes the sewing really difficult, so I've got to find a way of making that easier. But it's one of those things that you just kind of think, I really like that. I could make one for everybody, and you could use it for a month. Well, all the women. I can't see men making much of a use of it because it's kind of for things that women do. I don't know. What do you think? It's fully reversible because it's got top stitching, if the top stitching was actually done properly. So it kind of can sit like that if you wish, which actually is rather nice. It's just, yeah. So sewing, that's it. Right. The advent calendars. So as well as the one from Sarah, I have one from Amanda. You've heard me talk about Amanda before if you've watched before. She's from Mooland Gifts. So she is an artist. She makes and sells things, but she also does workshops. In fact, we work together. We collaborate on a format called Craft In, which is 2 hours in a pub on a weekday afternoon. And it's a pub in Harrogate, and we do once a month each now from January, February onwards. We're going to do once a month each. So there's lots and lots of stuff going on. But she's also a very good friend as well. And she made me up a calendar, and I made her one up. And it's just not yarn so much, because she's not really a yarn crafter, but random things. Just some of them just silliness, just silly buttons that look really lovely or whatever, and some of it's really, really nice sort of long threads that she can use either for her own embroidery or for classes. So I've made that up for her, and she made one up for me. I'll sort of show you the last couple of things I got in that. This is today's beads, which will look wonderful on a weave, won't they? I think. And this is just awesome. I'm going to try and find the top of it. Isn't it cool? I'm going to hang it up just here, I think. I just love it. Just random silliness. So that's my second advent calendar. I've also got a tea one, which my second daughter bought for me. So that's a 12-day one, so I'm opening one every other day. And yesterday's was a jasmine green tea, and that was lovely. And one of the bags lasted me 2 cups of tea, which they normally do, but that was quite strong. So I think I might make a third out of it, which is quite awesome. So that's lovely. And then a lovely words one. So my second daughter has done the first 12 days, and when my oldest gets home she'll do 12, and it's just a little I'll pin them up here, a little piece of paper. Let me show you number one. And she's written partridge, and you are my hero. Just lovely little words, and so special, because on a day when I'm feeling that I'm not really doing very well, I can just pick one of those out and think it's okay. So 4 advent calendars, well, 3.5 going, and I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. And I'm definitely not going to have another year when I don't make an advent calendar for somebody, because I did one last year for a friend, and I did 2 this year, and I'm going to keep going because they're just lovely. It gave me so much pleasure putting them together, and then just Amanda and Sarah and I sort of texting each other, or sending a pic of what we've got today, and it's lovely. Really, really enjoying it. Okay, so something new. You know, I've got so much new yarn recently. Well, I'm afraid it hasn't stopped. I said to you about my birthday presents, that my sister-in-law, my brother and his wife had bought me something, and I had an idea of what it might be, but I didn't say it because I wasn't certain. I hoped it might be a yarn club, because she said there's something coming in the post soon, and there'll be another 5 coming over the next 5 months, and I was like, that sounds like a yarn club. This is me getting excited. But I didn't want to say anything in case it wasn't, because she's not particularly a yarn crafter. She does crochet and knit occasionally, but it's not her big thing. So I didn't know whether she would know about stuff like that, but she does, and she did, and it is, and I was so excited. Let me just get it for you. So here it is. It's a nice big box, and it came in all this. Oh, it's lovely. I might have a picture of it. That might not be the right thing to do. Let me just show you this. So it's a birthday and Christmas present, and it is from Twisted Yarns. So what came in the first one? Sorry about the crinkling. Minis. Look at these. Look at those colours. They're so beautiful. So they're. I am making a mess again. There are 2 that are just solid, this beautiful rich red, and then there are 3 which are variegated with the green, and they're 20 grams each. So it's 100 grams there. It's berry Christmas and holly berries, superwash merino and nylon, and it's 425 meters per 100 grams. So it's quite a lot of yardage, and then it's got fairly high twist on it. Cover up my face. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. And this is another reason why I wanted to do something that used small amounts of yarn, because when this came, there is actually a pattern with it for a shawl, but you know me, I'm far too maverick to follow the plan, so I'm not going to make that. But I needed to have a plan for this, and I don't know what the other 5 months are. Is it going to be minis every time? Is it going to be a skein? Is it going to be what? I don't know. So that is going to be in my Advent blanket as well. So cute. And with the 40 grams there, that will make 8 squares. Yeah, 8 squares. So that could be really nice in the design, wouldn't it, to have these 8 sort of spread out. What else to get? So I got this, which is this lovely crocheted coaster. I think it's a coaster rather than a washcloth. I don't think it's cotton, but it's really pretty. It's not the same colour, a different colour to that. And then there's this cute little soap. I love it on the back. It says, "Do not eat. Good advice." What a weird world we live in. And then there's a crochet hook with a lovely covering on it. What size is that? I think it's at a 5 millimetre. Yeah, it's a 5. It says 5, which means a 5 millimetre, doesn't it? Actually, I'm using that for my blanket, so I might have a go at that. And then finally, a little bag of Christmas themed stitch stitch markers. So that's an amazing kit, and I just absolutely love it, really love it, and there'll be more to come, so I'm just totally thrilled. Thank you, True. It's a wonderful idea. What else? Oh my goodness, so we had our swap as well as the minis. We also did a swap as well, me and Sarah. So let me show you briefly what I got in that. So there was this bag which she made, and that was part of the swap. All my swap stuff was in it, and it was part of the swap. It's a lovely size for doing a big project. So I'm going to run through what I got in that. Most of it's yarny. Pom-poms. 3 of each of 2 different colours. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I'm going to have fun with them. Aren't they gorgeous? Excellent. You know, when you've got to make pom-poms, you've got poms. Now there's 2 of these. They're woolly goodness yarns, not heard of them. It's Blue Face Leicester, 4-ply, purple pink. Very high twist, can you see that? I love that. I love those colours, they're just so beautiful. And that's 100 grams with the 2. So BFL, no nylon, but I think people do make socks with just BFL because it's quite tough. I don't know. This is very much my husband's colour. This is company colours, but I don't know. I can't think I might just nick them for me. But yes, very, very lovely. What else? I've got a weekly planner. It's one of those that doesn't have dates on it, so you can just start any week. I love a bit of planning. Oh, this is nice. Oh, this ball's falling apart. It's just got knocked about in the bag. Sorry. Monsoon. And it's the same colourway. I know they look completely different, but they are actually the same colourway. So that's DK. It's soft as anything, and the colours are stunning. I mean, look at that gold in there. So I'm really looking forward to having a go with that. I have definitely worked with that yarn before and loved it. And then, can you work out what that is? There we go. It's a jigsaw puzzle. And that is sometimes used as a sign of autism. So it's a jigsaw puzzle knitted, and it is cotton washcloth. Isn't it lovely? Fabulous. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Oh, something else in here. Oh yeah. Knitting needle, pen, and this cute little pin. Cat Mama. So I think I might put that on this bag actually, because that would look really nice here, wouldn't it? Cat Mama here. So yeah, absolutely wonderful swap. Yeah, fantastic. I would definitely recommend this. It's really good fun. I mean, there are issues around it with things like if you don't specify things like price limits or whatever, then yeah, you could have an uneven swap. But if it's a close friend, if it's a good friend, it doesn't matter. Or if it's something wider, then somebody you don't know, then you can just put a limit on the amount you spend, can't you? So anyway, it's just really good fun. I love it. The swap. Oh, the other thing, another birthday present I got, which you haven't seen, is this. So this was made for me by Amanda. I love that lilac bit there. It's so gorgeous, the fibre, and it's kind of dream catcher-esque because she's obviously left it on the loom and tied these on. So it's funny. I made weaves for myself with the aim of putting them up on my bedroom walls, the space in my bedroom, but they never get up there because I keep them all to take to weaving classes to show to people what they can do. So this one is actually going to go on my wall, and that's going to go up probably this afternoon once I've now shown it to you. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, I love it. I just love weaves and all these beautiful bits on the bottom. Love it. Right, okay, that's something new. Okay, plans. So the mystery crochet along. Oh, mystery crochet along from the crochet project. That's called Holbrook Hills. That's starting it on Christmas Eve. And we are now on the 6th. So it's nearly, not even 3 weeks away. Oh, I'm really excited about that. I have to choose some yarns. think it's 3 lots of 50 grams of 4 ply, which is a funny amount because I don't buy things in 50 grams. There is a specific yarn suggested, but you know, I've got plenty of stash that I can use, and I don't mind using 50 grams from 100 grams again. There's other projects. The last mystery crochet along from the crochet project was Stash of Shells, and that used up leftovers, big chunks left. It's not like little 5 or 10 grams, but there was 35 grams of some. So yeah, using up big quantities but not sock quantities of leftovers is not an issue for me. I can definitely do that. So yeah, I'm going to choose some colours for that. I need to cast on a double knit version of the shift. I bought some Easy Knits colours for that. One of the things that's holding me up is I've got to get Christmas crafting finished, but also I need to look at the pattern because the pattern's written for 3 colours, and because I wasn't sure of the yardage for DK, it's written for worsted weights. Oh, sorry, sport weight. It's written for sport weight. I did my first one in sport weight, but I wanted to do a DK version because I'm teaching a course at Yarn Etc. in February on this. I can't show you the sample because it's at Yarn Etc. at the moment. I'll put a pic in here. So I want to do a DK version. Not only because I want another version of it because it's lovely, but also just to show to people so that if they want to choose double knit yarn instead of because there's not an awful lot of sport weight yarn in the UK. So I need to start that, but it's written for 3 colours and I'm using 4 because there isn't a yardage given in the pattern for DK because it's not written for DK, and I looked on Ravelry at the patterns that have been done in DK and the yardage varied quite largely. So I bought 4 different colours, so I definitely have the yardage, and obviously I'm not going to work the whole thing in 3 and then just add in one last one at the end if I run out. That's not going to work. So I need to rework the colours so that I know which 2 colours I'm using in each section, and that's a bit of a brain thing and I need to get my brain around that, but I do need to do that fairly soon. I've got one more Christmas project to make, and that's something for my sister-in-law. I couldn't start that until we'd done our Christmas craft session at the pub, which was Wednesday, so I can start that now. And we were going to be seeing them between Christmas and New Year, and then we're not seeing them until the end of January, so I've got plenty of time to do that, so I'm not so worried about that. Okay, so anything else going on? Lizzie's coming home today, so excited, but it does mean that I'm not going to have an office and not going to have my space, which is fine because I've not got any more classes. Next week I'm seeing my library group and we're going to be doing some leaves. We're going to be doing little leaves for a big tree display because we started doing a new Learn to Crochet group in January at the library. This is my pro bono work. I don't charge for this, and it's for people who probably wouldn't necessarily access a paid class. And so I've just got to do a few little bits, got to find some leaf patterns and try a few, get a few practice leaves done, and I've bought a few balls of different kinds of colours of yarn, but I need to wind them into smaller balls so that people can take 2 or 3 different colours home with them and do some over Christmas. We get together in January, they bring them in, we'll crochet up a tree and make a display. That's the plan anyway. So I'll just need to do that, but other than that I'm not doing any more teaching until New Year, so I don't need my office, as it were. I just need to work out what I'm moving and where I'm putting it and where I'm going to do the things I do need to do, and then I'm going to make her bed and get it all laid out for her and light a scented candle, and I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. And get it all just feeling lovely for her. Dave's picking up on Warwick at around 1, so she should be home between 4 and 5. So I'm going to make one of her favourites, my chicken curry. Dave's chicken curry is very accomplished and sophisticated and fantastic. Mine is just a basic chicken korma. So I'll make that for her, and we'll have a lovely evening together. And then we've got a great weekend planned. We're going to the German Christmas market in Leeds, and we're going to get the rest of the decorations up. We were going to put some up, and not the tree, but none of us had the heart to put the deckies up without her, so we've really got very little put up. So we'll put all the new deckies that we bought this year. We'll put the lights up, we'll put the tree up, and maybe watch a Christmas movie. And yeah, so it's going to be absolutely fab. I'll have a home for 4 weeks. So I started something new yesterday. I have, for the last 3 years or so, I have started having 3-day headaches. I think it's been longer than that actually, but I don't really know. So I'll have a headache that doesn't respond to medication. I've seen the GP, the doctor, I've tried all the migraine medication, all the other, I've tried everything. The only thing it responds to is codeine, and quite high quantities of it, which is an opiate. And so we haven't been able to find a reason for them. They go on for 3 days. I go to sleep at night, wake up in the morning, it's still there. And they're really chronic. They really mess with my life, because whatever I'm planning to do, it's usually at a weekend that happens. So it just can't work out what the trigger for is. I thought it was hormonal. I went on the pill and that relieved things for a while, but then they came back. I thought it was menopause, started HRT, that didn't help. Turns out I'm not menopausal. Anyway, probably oversharing here. Now, finally, I think the reason for the headaches is autistic overload. So I took the view that if I'm going to have 3 days a month that I don't get to choose the day, and I don't get to do anything, and I have to take codeine and deal with all of the side effects of that will go on for a week after, and have 3 horrible days, why don't I just take those 3 days and try and prevent it? So I think my body is trying to tell me I need to spend time on my own, and that's why it gives me this headache. Opiates affect it because that affects the way my brain works, basically. That's what opiates do. But as soon as that's worn off, it's back. So my body is trying to tell me, or my head is trying to tell me, to spend some time on my own in my room. And that's what I do. And that's the only thing that works to get me to do that. Nothing else does, because there's so many things to do. So I figured, okay, if that's what it wants me to do, then I'll do that. So I'm going to have a headache avoidance day, 3 a month, maybe 1 a week, even maybe the 4th as well, depending on how things go. But the first one was yesterday. So I did my normal stuff. I got up, unload the dishwasher, sorted out the kitchen, got one daughter off to school, and off and on during the day, and I'm making cups of tea for Dave, had lunch with him. But the rest of the time I was in my room, door shuts, knitting, crocheting, watching videos, and not worrying about other stuff. And it was amazing. I really, really loved it. Even at weekends, I don't get a chance to relax like that, because there's always things that need doing. But it was basically like me having a headache, but better, because I chose the day, I did get some stuff done, I didn't feel awful, and I didn't take any meds. And then we went out in the evening had a date night at the pub, which was lovely. And I just felt so energized. I felt so brilliant after that day. So I'm scheduling one in every week, and obviously some weeks it won't happen, but that's okay. And the plan is really to just have those, basically to have those headache avoidance days, and then not have the 3-day headaches. So I'm going to let you know how that goes. I'm rambling, aren't I? Okay, right. I think I'm done. It's raining. You can probably hear the tip-tap of rain out there. I'm going to finish up and then move out of here. I will see you in a couple of weeks. Where are we? We're the 6th now, so I'll see you weekend in the 20th. So I'll definitely talk to you before Christmas. Yeah, so if you are new, thank you so much for coming over. I hope you've got right to the end and haven't been bored. If you're one of my long... Oh, God. Kathy's going to tell me if I always get this wrong. I used to say long suffering. She doesn't like that. Devoted, whatever, long serving. Thank you. If you're coming back and you've watched before, thank you. I really do appreciate it. I was going to do Vlogmas this year, but technical issues with the camera and stress issues with not having an office and things just made it not a good idea. I'm disappointed about that. But anyway, thank you for watching. If anything has interested you in this, then yeah, do click on the notes. You can either make a comment below, or you can go over to Ravelry, make a comment. Do please make a comment. I really do enjoy responding to them. And let me know what you're doing. If you're doing the MCAL as well, show me what yarns you've chosen. Yeah, get in touch. Okay, happy crafting. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.